He's done 800,000 in the last 30 days selling used books, CDs, DVDs on Amazon FBA, Amazon Canada, and .com. I meant to say Amazon FBA.com, Amazon MF. You do a Libris, you do eBay, you do other sales. Welcome to the Amazon Savages podcast. I'm joined with my co-host. Where is he? Oh, Taylor Jones. Oh, this is so complicated. Over here, Costa Rica, and he's on 1.6 million in sales.
1.7 last 12 months.
Woo! Welcome to the Amazon Savages podcast. Hear the stories of Amazon sellers crushing it in the game and keep up with the latest strategies that are working. Sit back, relax, and remember, if you truly try and work really hard, you will make a ridiculous amount of money selling on Amazon.
How you doing, brother? Oh.
How you doing, guys?
Dude, that is quite the freaking intro right there.
Yeah, I kind of wasn't joking, though, when I said I'm going to let Taylor ask the questions, because I feel like Taylor would be intrigued by a bookseller doing that much. So.
Yeah. No,
who made that intro for you? Sorry to interrupt you. Who made that intro for you?
Oh, I paid this guy on Fiverr. No, not Fiverr. One of those websites, but it wasn't that cheap. It was like I paid at least $150, $200 for like a series of those voiceovers. I think I paid $300. And then they tried to make me do copyright for it. They were like, "Oh, you can use this in your podcast, but you have to pay us extra." And I'm like, "I'm not paying y'all shit. I get like 500 to 1,000 views on this shit. Like, wait till I pop off."
There you go. So
that's funny because I got this from you, but I've been geeking out about online jobs PH2, and we hired our first VA probably like 4 or 5 months ago.
Yep.
I think we're paying her like $300, maybe $400 a month, but it's just like she's doing so much stuff for us now. Like I haven't even gave her like the whole like customer support and all the tickets, because like we do a lot of merch fulfilled on the book side, so we get over 100 tickets a day, and I haven't even started training her on how to do those. But like she's like making invoices for us, scouring her emails.
Have you talked to David? He's using ChatGPT for a lot of his customer service, I think. He's been using ChatGPT a lot just to mess around with it.
So I haven't talked to David about that, but I probably
yeah. I'd be curious how much he's implemented it in his book business, because he was like obsessed with it last year. Yeah. And he was building like these long, what are they called, like dialogues or like conversations with ChatGPT, so it would remember everything about Dream Books, his business. Yeah. So
we use a Fresh Desk, and they have like canned responses. So like, I mean, most inquiries are like pretty much the same thing, copy and paste it 80 times. And then there's like maybe 20 or 30 unique ones that you might actually have to write something. Mm-hmm. So like, yeah, I've been geeking out over that, because it's just like, it's cool. Because when you think about it, pretty much every company could benefit from using one. Like if you think about like freight brokers, a lot of people are already sending, instead of having like someone managing 20 trucks in the US or Canada, they're already sending their offices to like India. So that's like another example of like just trying to find cheaper labor in another country.
Yeah, 100%. And sometimes like paying for labor is better than automation. Like sometimes automation's more complicated. Like for customer service, for example, it might be wrong like 5% of the time, which is just like, you'd rather just pay a person overseas $1,000 to handle it than like 5% of, even though 5% is like not bad at all. Yeah. And yeah. So anyway, give a background on how you guys started selling books and how you got up to the point where you're doing 800,000 every 30 days now. That's fucking insane.
Yeah. So we started in 2019. I met my business partner Manroop in university. We went to business school.
He's too good to show up to these pods, man. Let's see if he comes through the background again.
He's the one that does all the work. So yeah.
Hey, this is the work. I joke with my developer of Go-To Lister, and he's like, "I've been busy coding all day, blah blah blah." He's like, "What the fuck have you been doing?" I'm like, "Dude, I've been making podcasts all day. Shut the fuck up!" Like, I've been out here doing the real work.
Yeah. I mean, someone's got to get the clients, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, I met him in 2016 when we started business school, and then I had this idea from like way prior. Like, I knew about selling books in like 2014, 2015, but that was when like I was just going to college. I was living on campus. So I scrapped the idea for like 34 years. And then we started it in 2019. So third year out of my like dorm room, like we would go to, so it was nice because like our university was in Vancouver, and it's like the rich area of town. So we would go to all like the thrift stores around campus, and then we would bring all the books back to my dorm room, and we would list them all out of my dorm room. And this was in 2019. But like the business side of us was all like this, like we did that for like quite some time. I'd say at least 6-7 months. But like the business side of us is like, and we learned that now too. Like whenever you do something, there has to be some sort of scalability to it. So that's how we slowly trickled into like baby bulk, and then we eventually just blew it up and just started going straight into Gaylords from there.
Wow.
And that all happened over like 3 years. Like we went from a 1,000 square foot warehouse. I want to say the next one was like 2,000, 2,500. And then the jump up from that was a 4,000 square foot warehouse.
Did you guys how did you guys keep the laser focus on books? I feel like a lot of people get into Amazon through books and then get sort of teased or tempted into OA and wholesale. Did you guys have that breaking, maybe turn of the roads where you're like, you thought about getting into something else, or you're like, yo, it's books all the way?
So it started off online textbook arbitrage. That was how it originally started off. Like we had a spreadsheet going, we were using a prep center. It was only textbooks, and it was working okay. Like when we started getting the hang of like what books to buy, what books not to buy, we were making like decent money.
And dude, by the way, like textbook arbitrage used to be like a thing of the past, in my opinion. This last year, some savages have popped off. Shout out Victor Galejos. He'll be at Miami Sellers Conference, and Joji Davenport will be speaking at Miami Sellers Conference. And they're coming out with like these new strategies. Like, dude, they're like Caleb Roth on steroids. Like, they are literally like, they're changing the game. They just came out with the new software called BookMine. And I feel like the real difference between these guys, and I guess we could compare them to Peter Valley and Caleb Roth in the past. No offense to Caleb Roth and Peter Valley, but these guys are like actively flipping like 500 to a million, or I don't even know if they're doing that much, but 500,000 a year but they're doing about 100K profit. And I'm sure back in the day, Caleb was probably whipping those numbers around with eFlip, but Caleb was doing a lot of wholesale, low key. He wasn't like super public about it. Now he's more, but he was buying books from Amazon and then flipping them to wholesalers. And so like, I feel like the difference with Joji and Victor is like they are actively buying a lot. So they have like all these weird strategies, like all the OA dorks that are out there, like Miles Warner and all these guys popping off, like keep a product finder, doing all this shit. That's how they are in the book world. And so like all the shit I didn't know about Keepa, like offers tab, like there's so much to be learned about Keepa. Like these new book guys are really like getting granular with it, and they're building softwares like around that. So anyway,
Joji's building a software.
Joji and Victor. So Victor coded it. Victor Galejos. He'll be at the event. He bought his ticket. I added a section to Miami Sellers Conference of special guest, and he bought his ticket, but I added him there because he's retired already, and he's just like crushing the game. So I added him to like the notable attendees is what I called it, and then Joji partnered with him on the software. So,
but so Vishal was before he got to finish the answer. Did you guys get tempted over into other categories or?
No, we were pretty much books the whole way.
That's why I bring Taylor on the pod.
There were so many, like, I wouldn't even say we got tempted into other categories. It's just our business model flipped like 3 times. So like we went from online arbitrage to just cherry picking the books and listing like hundreds of individual books physically. Like we had to touch them and list them and ship them out.
Yeah.
And then from there, we went into like baby bulk. Like we would go to our supplier's warehouse and scan bulk books out of there. But that would only last so long. So then we had to get a small storage unit, and then we ended up bringing their books to our small storage unit. So like we've constantly been on go mode. It's just like everything's changing. It's always been changing, but the product has stayed the same.
I think that's really cool because I think like when you actually stick to a really one specific category, like you get to know it really, really well. And then like, I don't know, I feel like it's so easy, especially in the Amazon space, but also just as entrepreneurs to like constantly be looking for a different opportunity, especially when the one that we're in isn't working that good. That's pretty cool. You guys are just like freaking books all the way.
Whenever people like ask us what we do, it's like, I try just saying, and this is just say I meet someone on the street and they ask us what we do. I just like go in e-commerce and then it's like, oh, what do you sell? And then the next answer is you have to say you sell books, but I just view books as like the product that gets us the sales. But it's just like, how do you sell the books? Especially once you get to a larger scale, there's so many like nuances and different strategies, like on how you're accepting the books, how you're monetizing them, being on several different marketplaces, how you're running your warehouse. Because as a bulk seller, you're talking maybe less than $1 profit per book sometimes.
Yeah.
So you have to be like hyper efficient when you're doing that type of stuff. And like our labor bill is like close to $100,000 a month. So
wow, that's crazy. What was the inner journey like for maybe you and your business partner, but like when you guys were just starting out, like in college, like I'm sure you guys faced some pretty big adversity in that first few years. Like, how did you see your original path, like going to college and getting a corporate job? And then like, what was the inner journey that you went through? Like, did you have any huge, crazy breaking points or aha moments where you're like, oh, I think I'm going to do something else, or like that led you into the Amazon world?
yeah, so we were still like, it wasn't that, we're gonna quit our job. So we had internships. So the summer after we started this Amazon business, we had internships. So I was with PwC, which is like one of the big 4 accounting firms, and my partner was with Deloitte. And then after we graduated, we got full-time jobs. So they gave us a full-time offer. And what my partner did is he delayed his full-time offer. He basically said like, hey, instead of starting at this date, can I start at this date a year later? That way we're not like saying no to the offer, but we minimize the risk on like, oh, if shit hits the fan, at least we have this job that we went to school for.
Yeah.
I took a bit of different approach. I did delay, but I didn't delay as long as he did. I think I delayed like 6 months, whereas he delayed a year. So I did eventually go to work. And the problem with that is my job offer was for Toronto, so across the country, East Coast. I worked for a few months and then I quit because a lot changed in our business in that few months, to the point where it was not like good enough where it's like, oh, okay, we have something solid, we can quit our jobs now. But you could see the path there. It was getting to that point. So then once we both just went balls to the wall and just like went at it, that was when it really took off. So I guess in our case, we had a plan B, but we ditched the plan B quickly, and then there was only a plan A.
Burn the boats.
Yeah, exactly.
So all 3 of us know David Chung. Dave can read, and he'll also be at Miami Sellers Conference. He actually came to Costa Rica with me and Taylor, so we all hung out for a week.
It was a good time. It was a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he was in Vancouver, I think, before he flew out to Costa Rica.
Okay. Yeah, I think I kind of remember that. I think I remember him like mentioning that.
Yeah.
So I think for both of us, David was like a mentor to us like early on in our Amazon selling journeys. How much of an inspiration was he? Like, do you think if David didn't exist, you would pursue bulk books the way you did? Or do you think he was more of just like a helper along the way?
So the thing I admire the most about David is that he's consistent. Like, I don't know. I think he tells people how long, but it's been 14, 15, 16 years. So just doing that for that long and not, again, like Taylor, that's a question for David. Like, why didn't you try selling something else? Or why didn't you do this? Right. So like, he's been doing this for 15 years.
Wow.
So just a man selling books for 15 years. I mean, he was like super young and he never changed. And like, I don't know how book selling was 15 years ago, but it's probably harder now than it was then. But like, so I just think that's a huge inspiration. The fact that you can do something for that long and not not move around.
Yeah, 100%. Do you think, but I guess my question is like, was he like such an inspiration that you guys were like, holy crap, like I want to be like David, like let's pursue this? Or was it more like, oh, it's cool David's doing that, but like we know that this is a big opportunity, like let's pursue it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because I remember
David's like piece in your life, like did it inspire you to go that route?
Yeah. So when we met David, we met David through Pallet IQ. So I guess at that point we were a large user for Pallet IQ. So I guess they could like see our scan numbers. And Caleb introduced us to David a couple months before the Scout IQ conference. So that was our first time meeting David. And David came out to Vancouver.
Wait, you met David a few months before the Scout IQ summit?
Yeah.
Wow, you just met David then? Okay.
Yeah. So it's probably been 2 years tops, I'd say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
For some reason, I thought you met him kind of like when I met him. I don't know why I thought that.
No,
so,
but then David basically like once we met all those guys and like before then we had no network in like the book selling community. After that, that's when like I officially met you and stuff too. So then we like met everyone, and that I would definitely say that added fuel to the fire. like as we grew our network, we had more people to text, more people to ask questions to, and then from there, I mean, like still to this day, we just changed our shipping carrier for MF Books last week, and like the whole process, like I didn't know how to do it, so the whole process, I was still messaging like 2-3 people, like, oh, like, is it worth it? How's the transit time? Like, are you losing parcels? Like all this stuff, and like, how do you get set up? So that was super helpful, and like all that, just like after meeting everyone, it just like added fuel to the fire. Like we probably, I want to say at least 2x, maybe even 3x since then.
Yeah.
So
I'm super excited for you to come to Miami Sellers Conference and meet like everyone. Like what's probably going to happen is you'll get there, you'll speak, obviously. People are gonna be like, holy fuck. Like people always make fun of booksellers, which is kind of why I want you to come, because like they're like, oh, you started
I want you to come so people make fun of you.
But no, he's doing 800,000 a month, so more than all the fuckheads making fun of him. And then everyone's gonna be like, holy, like everyone's mind's gonna be blown. And then probably like 3 or 4 people are gonna want to interview you afterwards, like a couple weeks afterwards. I just feel like your network's gonna like kind of expand to other sellers that you wouldn't really expect, and booksellers too. So I'm excited for you for that. Just because, like, just in the same way, like the only reason why I do Miami Sellers Conference is because of Caleb's Turn the Page events.
Yeah.
You know,
and like even if like, so like even if there's not a lot of booksellers there, the people who aren't selling books still deal with the same issues that people who are selling books deal with, right? Like, oh, like, okay, you can talk about the new fee changes that are dropping around March, April. You can talk about, hey, how, like, if you do merch fulfilled, how are you shipping your stuff? Right? Like there's so many like things that overlap in terms of like logistics and warehouse or whatever it is, that for someone who's not doing maybe not online arbitrage, but like wholesale, there's going to be a lot of things that will overlap there because there's still a warehouse. Yeah. So there's a lot that goes into that.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point. You said, like, as you got exposed to more of the community and really started networking, your business like 2 or 3x. I think I had a similar experience. I think that's one of the main reasons we do the event, is like, it's so like business is such a huge world, and it doesn't matter what industry, if you're books or OA or wholesale, like when you meet other people that are especially doing more than you, but even at your same level, like they know shit you don't know, and it's like everyone always has something to learn, you know?
Yeah.
So
you ready for the yacht?
Oh yeah.
I didn't even know there was a yacht.
Yeah, there's a yacht. Yeah, dude, it's gonna be a hell of a weekend. It's gonna be so much fun. Yeah. Well, let's go over the booksellers real quick. I'm gonna.
The last time I was in Miami, I was on a cruise. So hopefully
the
yacht is on the cruise. Yeah.
We actually thought about doing it on a cruise.
That was actually November of 2022.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. I'm writing a blog post on the best way to deal with split shipments. Might have some inspiration from you in there. But here we go. So the room's going to be twice as big as this room. Vishal's nervous to speak in front of all these people. Hopefully we'll have 300 people. We don't know. We have about 70 people attending right now, but we expect about 100 or 200 more purchases to come through in the next couple months. But you can see all the speakers here. So we got Amazon Lit. They're obviously an OG. This guy's an OG. Tim right here. He not an OG, but he popped off 3-4 years ago, and now he's got 20 VAs doing. How much is he doing a year, Taylor?
I think 10 million.
Yeah. 8 figures a year. My cousin said you're the most attractive on this page. So
what?
Yeah. And I said she couldn't pick me because we're blood. So let's see. What I was going to go over the booksellers that are here because my audience is going to want to know. We got David here. Boom. Dave can read. 15 years in the game. Bookseller out of Denver. And he's got an East Coast presence as well. So that's one bookseller there. John, Side Hustle Experiments, a bookseller turned into an online arbitrage seller. So that'll be interesting to have him there. Rake and Profit. He sells books on and off. And then we have Joji. Where's Joji at? Joji Davenport. And down here, notable attendees. I'm going to add more of these. I'm going to fix the stretched out look. But Victor Galejos does $500K a year. He's retired. He's financially independent. And he'll be attending. He just bought his ticket the other day. So excited to have him there. So, yeah, we'll have quite a few booksellers there. I think we'll have about 15 to 20% of attendees be booksellers, maybe more, maybe less, who knows? But
Wow.
it's not going to be nobody.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Oh, get it. So where are you located now, Vishal? Are you still in Vancouver?
Yeah. So our 3 warehouses, I mean, they're scattered around, I guess, so Vancouver, and then there's like a lower mainland. So it's in like the suburbs / outskirts of Vancouver. We have 3 warehouses. So we had the first one, which is like our main processing warehouse, but we quickly outgrew that. And then we have a second warehouse, which is where we do all our merch fulfilled out. And the third warehouse is just like an accessory warehouse, which basically just supports the first one.
Wow.
It works because they all kind of have their own purpose. If they didn't have their own purpose, then it would have been a nightmare.
Yeah.
Because like as we get the books from the first warehouse and we sort them out, we just send them to the merch fulfill warehouse for them to list them and put them on the shelves. So that's why it works. But ideally, if we could do this all over again, which I mean, I guess there was no way to do it otherwise. It's hard to plan for this type of stuff, but ideally, it would all just be under one roof.
And then how active are you in the day-to-day operations? Do you guys have, systems set up with your employees where you're pretty hands off, or are you pretty heavily involved in the day-to-day?
So we probably do about, I want to say 4 to 5 hours of honest work every day. We're probably in the office from like 11 to 4 p.m., 11 to 5 p.m. We don't do any of like the physical labor work, but in terms of emails, banks, payables, receivables, stuff like that, we're still pretty on top of that, dealing with trucking companies. We're like, we know what's going on a day-to-day. I want to say we're still like half the time we're probably still a business operator and half the time we're like an owner. Because we could, like, for example, we could disappear for a week and everything will still be fine, but 2 weeks might be pushing it.
Yeah. What do you feel like, probably specifically the booksellers, but maybe all Amazon sellers too, but what do you feel like the biggest thing that people are overlooking as they scale past 7 figures, that like you guys have, like maybe one of the biggest lessons that you guys have learned in your own business that's like, wow, we really need to take stock of this and look at this?
Yeah, I would say, well, one, make sure your software suite is reliable and easy to train on, because I think that's like super invaluable. If you have a like easy software you're using, you could just plug people in and then it solves like your labor issue. And 2, I'd be like, I mean,
Go-to lister probably would be like really important for that then.
Yeah, for sure. The best listing software.
Michelle's helped a lot with with Go-To Lister, actually, just answering like questions about split shipments and stuff.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. And the second thing, this is for us. I guess this is more bookseller focused, but like decreasing your reliance on Amazon. So about 60% of our sales on the merch fulfill side of our business are off of Amazon. I mean, like off Amazon, not on Amazon.
Wow.
So that's been huge because those other marketplaces present so many more opportunities in terms of like higher margin sales. Like if you sell an item for $5 on that other marketplace, but you sell it for $5.99 on Amazon, you're still going to make more on that other market.
Yeah. I wonder how much of that could be like transferable to like wholesalers, like that general concept of selling on Walmart and Amazon and maybe having a Shopify store, because you're doing that. And I bet some wholesalers would like to implement the same thing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm thinking about that right now. Like I'm thinking about taking like $100,000 loan. I'm thinking about, should I pump more capital in? And in the back of my mind, I'm like, we just had an ASIN with a recall get like 3 or 4 ASINs get taken down. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, like if I take this capital, like what am I going to do plan B if like something gets hit, like an ASIN, like you got to have that backup plan. So absolutely it applies.
Yeah.
So what do you guys are on? What do you say? Shopify and what else?
So we're not on Shopify because the only issue with that was I feel like that only works for the really big companies like the Sell Back Your Books and like Thrift Books and like Better Will Books, because you just got to funnel a bunch of marketing dollars to get people to your website so you can sell books, right? Because what's the point of having your own website if no one's going to come on it, right? Like I can have 100,000 books listed on Shopify, but no one's going to buy it if people don't come to the website. So we're just on Amazon, eBay, Books, Alibris, Biblio. So I think there's 5.
Wow.
The thing is, and I'm not sure how legal this is, but let's just say you made a website like VanCityUsedBooks.com or something. Then every MF order, you put like Van City book packaging on it and put like We Buy Books Back. Is that legal to do? Because Sell Back Your Book does it.
I'm sure people, yeah. I mean, I know people do it.
Yeah, I just feel like that'd be the easiest way to build your brand, because then everyone who buys a book from you on Amazon would get your marketing to your personal website.
To take that one step forward, you know how Amazon and eBay block out the emails of the customer?
Yeah.
The other marketplaces don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, it's probably against their terms of service to use those emails, but I'm sure people have used them.
Yeah, we probably just got Sell Back Your Book banned from Amazon by having this discussion.
And they're not, I don't even know if they're doing it, but I know other people do it as well. I'm sure a lot of people do it.
I bought from Glenn, the bookseller, and you'll just get Sell Back Your Book packaging. I'm like, holy shit, this is the best like marketing. Like, it's the best name ever. You get the book, and on the package it says Sell Back Your Book, even though it's not like, it's just the brand, it's not even, it's a call to action. Like the brand name is a call to action. So you get it and you're like, holy shit, like I got books I can sell back and make money. It's just pretty cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if anyone has used those, but like basically if we wanted, like we could probably pull 100,000 emails of people that ordered from us in the past.
Oh, that you could easily pop off. Like, I feel like you could do it, but it's just like, is it worth it?
Probably not. I'm sure it's definitely violating something. I mean, we have no need to do it because we're on the marketplaces and that is the marketing, but like it's there depending on how far someone's willing to go.
Yeah. So look at these. These are from the Scout IQ Summit back in the day. Networking event. Yep. I use it. I'm almost out. This is the last one. I've been using them to clean up my coffee. My coffee machine spills. So shout out Caleb for helping with the coffee spillage here. What is the number one thing you got from that networking event?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
The Scout IQ conference?
Yeah.
So Michael Fortinall was there. I feel like his talk was probably like the most relatable because I just like how he's doing what all bulk sellers are doing, but he niched it down even further to the textbook side of things.
Shout out Michael Fortinall, that's my partner over at
Grind Hard. Well done, sir, and welcome to the freaking Well Show.
Hey.
Yeah, but
yeah.
like just what he's doing with textbooks is like he's carved out a niche for himself that basically no one else can do because of how he's set up. So I think that's pretty cool. Like it's not like anyone can sell books, but not everyone can sell books how he sells books. So that's what I like about his business the most. And it's just like it taught us that we kind of need to have a moat as well. And we probably don't have one right now, but we're trying to build towards one. And like we're located out of Canada, so I think that kind of helps us in a sense that like in terms of where we're located, it's like there's not a lot of bulk sellers in Canada, and we have that advantage of being on this side of the border.
Yeah.
But we still operate how anyone else in the US would operate. Like we still use USPS. Like we still sell on Amazon.com. We get paid in US dollars and then it converts into Canadian dollars and then it feels like we have even more money. So we benefit from all that stuff. But yeah, that's what I learned. You have to create a moat for yourself, and I was inspired to do that by Michael.
Nice. What do you mean by a moat?
Like there needs to be something driving
like
the
Dungeons
business.
and Dragons or anything, like where you gotta like get past like the moat with the alligators in it and shit.
Okay, let's Google business moat.
You're probably around a moat right now down in Costa Rica.
Is a term used to describe a company's competitive advantage. Like a moat protects a castle. Certain advantage help protect companies from their competitors.
I've actually never played Dungeons and Dragons.
We use that term like finance a lot. Like when you're analyzing a company, like, what's Apple's moat? What's Facebook's moat? Like,
yeah. I haven't heard that used in business, actually. Yeah.
Warner Fields says it a lot.
M-O-A-T. M-O-A-T.
Yeah, Avery.
Okay, I keep looking at notes. We're fucking idiots.
Oh my god. Yeah.
So yeah, it's like this, and like in video games, it'll have like alligators you gotta get past or something. Like it protects the castle. Like if somebody's gonna storm the castle, they gotta go through the moat first.
Through water. Okay. Yeah.
So in an online arbitrage context, like Warner Fields talks about it, like a moat would be coupon codes that nobody else knows.
No one else knows. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I like that.
Yeah. Like at this level, like we've had smaller bulk sellers try and come up in the area, but it's just the biggest barrier to entry is just infrastructure at this point. Like setting up 3 warehouses is not cheap, and then from there it's like scalability, labor, and even contacts. That's like your contacts and network is also, it could be a moat as it grows.
Yeah.
As Amazon continues to make changes, what do you think the future is for booksellers? I guess I kind of like to leave this question open-ended, but I'm thinking of things like authenticity complaints, storage limits, just things along those lines. What do you think the future holds?
So like if we go back a year or 2 years, the biggest issue was storage limits. Nobody could send more books in. And the way Amazon set up their storage limits now, like that doesn't seem to be a big deal anymore. So that's one stressor that kind of got removed. Like the storage capacity that Amazon's allowing is pretty insane. Like it's not an issue at all in terms of sending books on Amazon. I would say the biggest threat is consistently the fee changes. Like how, I don't know how this is going to play out in March, April, but the one that looks the most scary is the inventory placement service. Like if you don't send it to the warehouse they want you to send it to, they're just going to charge you like 30-40 cents more.
Because what you're doing is you're currently avoiding splits by not using Amazon. We talked about this behind the scenes, but you're basically like, you found a workaround using 2D barcodes to not get split. So that's a big concern for somebody like you and a lot of bulk sellers.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could just see splits being a nightmare for bulk sellers. So we'll have to navigate that whole storm when it arrives in March or April. Because that's like you're paying 30-40 cents up front, but yeah, they give you a bit of a fee break. But you'd rather pay the money when the book sells. You don't want to pay tens of thousands of dollars when you're just inbounding 40-50,000 units.
Yeah.
So changes like that kind of show it's like, oh, that's the whole issue. It's like those, like, I guess will be good for private label and wholesale people because it's not that hard to split one SKU in 3 different warehouses. You just package them a bit differently and then you're good to go. So stuff like that just kind of shows that like maybe Amazon still doesn't really like booksellers. I feel like they always never did, but like when they make changes like this, obviously booksellers aren't at the top of their mind because it's not like their whole business. So
might have to switch to go-to lister.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully we don't have to do box contents, but
you actually might. It'd be funny if you guys could use this for that because we might we were talking about this, me and Dom, after our conversation, where if you have a shipment on Amazon, we were thinking about making it available in go-to lister so you can just do box contents. Like that's it. So we're actually talking about doing that for the split shipment workaround you talked about. So you are uploading the inventory loader file to Amazon, getting those splits. You're submitting that you're uploading 2D barcodes, and Amazon's not splitting your shipment. So you're technically creating the shipment on Seller Central. So then what we were going to do is just display it on go-to lister. So if you wanted to, you could create the 2D barcodes. Anyway, people are probably
that way. Even if you create a shipment with a different software, go-to lister will still pick it up, so you can do the box content through it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, what else? What else are we missing on this podcast? It's been a good pod so far.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, go ahead, Vishal.
Sorry. I was going to say, like at Miami Seller Conference, I guess AB's forcing me to do a 20-minute talk. So it'll just be like a general talk. Because I don't know how many people there are going to care about like specific strategies, but like I'll try giving maybe like 2 or 3.
I feel like just by saying like you're doing $800K a month, everyone's ears going to perk up.
Yeah, and then like after the talk is where like when you get more in like 1-on-3s or like the smaller discussions.
Yeah, so what we're kind of, this is still kind of like up in the air, but around 2:00 in the afternoon, you remember at the Scout IQ Summit how we had like a cake break and like walked around? We're going to do something kind of like that, but it's going to be way more organized. It's going to be like, hey, Vishal's over here with Dave Can Read, and they're the bulk book selling table. If you want to go ask them questions, you guys might have 10 people, you might have 20, who knows? And then Amazon Lit will be over here with Alexis Leal, and Alexis does 8 figures a year. He's a low-key seller out of Miami, and you can go ask them questions. And then you'll have me and Taylor and like people all over the room with just different general concepts. And then we'll probably do like, we may just let it be free for all and just let people go for 2 hours, or we might have it organized to where you rotate. We don't know yet. So we're still kind of thinking that one out. Got pest control here. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Take the pod.
Okay. I definitely think we should probably do it where you get to go pick, because some people might take no interest in bookseller.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think I was going to ask you, Vishal, so like you guys started in 2019. So you're on what, like your 6th year, right?
5, 4, something like that.
2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024.
Yeah, that would make sense. 6th year. Yeah. So we 2019.
And was the Scout IQ Summit the first like networking event that you guys went to 2 years ago, or were you networking those first 4 years as well?
No, that was the first like meeting Caleb, David guys. Actually, we met David 2-3 months prior to that. But like, that was
I knew about Vishal because he used to send so many textbooks to restrictedinventory.com. So yeah. I had an employee in Tennessee, and she was like not a stay-at-home mom, but she was a mom, and she would have like her girls running around, and all of a sudden like Vishal just sent like thousands of books. They were just like loaded up in her driveway, and I'm like, who is this person? I thought you were like some overseas Indian scammer, and I'm like, there's a high chance that these books are counterfeit, but hey, we're selling them.
With that attitude, that's why his account got shut down.
Hey guys.
Grind hard, well done, sir, and welcome to the freaking Welsh.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, Avery, I told you this, is that we weren't actually sending them ourselves. They were going to Amazon.
Yeah.
And then Amazon restricts them, and they were just getting auto removed to the address that you kept giving me.
Oh wow.
And I was so lazy that this address that Avery had would keep changing, and then I would never change the address. I feel like even when you would fire a lister, they would still get the books back.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, I have a funny ass story about one of my listers. Shout out David. He doesn't talk to me anymore for probably good reason. But David lived in Vegas, actually really close to Jameson, where his address was. I'm such a creeper. I looked him up when I was there. And he used to get all my books. He used to build pallets of books and ship them out in Vegas. And so you may have sent him books at one point. But anyway, he quits, and he quit in a very nice way. He was like, hey, I'm going to quit, but I'm going to give you a month notice to like change all the books being delivered to my house. That's a much easier ask than is possible, because as you know, when you create Amazon removals, oftentimes it takes 2 months for them just to arrive. So he's still getting bloated with books like a month after he quits. And he's just like, when is this going to stop? Dude, I swear this guy probably took my books and sold them on Amazon himself. Like, because he was just getting like $30, $40 profit books delivered to his doorstep. And like, he was like, I'm tired of working for this guy. So a month after he quit, I find myself in Vegas with Taylor, and we rent a budget car, Kia, and we're in the middle of the desert, and it breaks down. And I messaged David. I'm like, hey, bro, can you come pick me up?
Did he text you back?
Oh, he never texted me back. So shout out David.
No, so we couldn't get an Uber. I don't know what happened, Vishal. We were like an hour and a half and like towards Lake Mead, and we hitchhiked back. And this is during COVID. We get into the car. My friend Mark and I, Avery stayed with this girl at the time. We get into this European couple's car, and the first thing they ask us, are you guys vaccinated? And Mark lied. He's like, of course. And I'm like, no, I'm not vaccinated. It was hilarious, dude. That was so funny. But I really feel for you for the dude. I was getting packages at my apartment for the longest time, and I didn't know like there's so many addresses on Amazon. You have your you have your unfulfillable, you have your return address, you have like your stranded inventory. And I didn't know for the longest time, like, why am I still getting packages? But it was my unfulfillable inventory. So, but it took like a month, before I stopped getting packages. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no, I feel you on those addresses, because you have to like go like for the stranded auto removal, you got to go to like a different spot than all the
It's like 3 different places. Yeah, it's crazy. But Oh, good memories in Vegas, Avery. Thank you for bringing that up, dude. That was funny.
Dude, I was such an idiot back in the day. Like, why would I think it's a smart idea to hire like 7 different listers all in
Yeah.
different days?
You know, I remember when you were telling me about that, in my brain, I thought, like, how does he convince these people to do this for him? Like, all of these different people. Like, I was absolutely shocked that you had convinced that many people to do that.
That's my talent, man. I'm good at convincing people to do weird shit. Until I have the reputation of giving everyone's accounts banned. Now it's harder for me to convince people. Now when I ask Taylor for like his Facebook account, he's like, I think it's gonna get banned.
It got banned. I mean,
It did not get banned. Your ad account is still up and running. Your personal Facebook account.
So what's going on? How did that whole thing pan out? Like, how are people's accounts connected to yours?
Okay, so what happened basically was in 2019. Did you follow me in 2019 by chance? Like, did you know who I was?
I probably did, yeah.
Okay, 2019, I had my first account shut down. And this was like when I was such a young entrepreneur. And I messaged David, and David's like, yeah, my account got shut down like 2 months before mine did. He's like, it's going to be up and active in like a couple weeks. And it was. Back then, if you get an account shut down for counterfeit textbook sales, it wasn't that bad. You would be down for 6 weeks. They would let your account come back active. And then they would, that's a cute dog. That's a pay. Oh, is he frozen? That's hilarious. He's frozen right now. So my account was back up in 6 weeks. Then I partnered with a friend, you know the friend, and I sold with him for 2 years successfully. We made 6 figures profit each year with restricted inventory, which as a young entrepreneur, that was like, nice to have. Then what happened was his account got a counterfeit claim as well. And then I had 2 other people that I had like kind of like on backup to sell on their accounts. And so I was logging into one of those accounts on my device. Obviously, I was logging into my own account on my device. My employee set up an account just because I wanted like a backup in case anything happened. And so I logged into her account on my device. I was just like really reckless, and I logged in on all the accounts on my device. Settled with the brand to get the main account that was shut down back up. Amazon let that account come back. It was restricted in textbooks, but they let it come back. So Amazon let every account that was shut down due to counterfeit textbook sales, I made up for it with the brand or Amazon, and they let those accounts get back. But then what happened is Amazon said, hey, you have multiple accounts. And they basically connected them together, and I got deactivated for multiple account policy violation. And now it's just like we've tried everything to get them back up. But I personally think that Amazon thinks like we're running like a counterfeit ring operation, and we're just hacking people's accounts and then selling counterfeit goods on different. That's what I think. But who knows? Either way, they don't want to give me my account back, so I just partner with other people. So now I still sell on Amazon, but I do it via partnerships. And lesson learned: don't sell counterfeit books on accident. I didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah. I mean, that's wrong. Especially when you're only selling textbooks, you're bound to run into counterfeit.
Yeah, for sure. And I didn't realize like it was that big of a risk. But I mean, if anyone with a brain like looked at it, they'd be like, wait, you run restrictedinventory.com. Why are people restricted? Oh, it's because there's a lot of counterfeits. How are you checking for counterfeits? And yeah, we were checking for counterfeits. We were pulling counterfeits, but they're still going to slip through. And sometimes the counterfeit books are in better condition and better materially made than the original, which makes it extremely difficult to deal with.
Like even for us, like our inventory is just so diversified now that even when like textbook season comes around, like our sales like hardly bump. Mm-hmm. Like all around, our sales are pretty consistent all year because we don't even. So we're restricted in all popular textbooks and all this stuff. So like we don't even but we don't get many to even begin with. Just like the nature of how we get our supply, we don't get many textbooks just to start with. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what, I mean, you probably noticed that too. You can probably pull up our account, but I don't think there's much coming your way now.
Yeah, are you guys still removing? I think we stopped the removals.
Yeah, no, we got a message from your partner to stop the removals.
Yeah,
so we stopped the removals.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on, man. We'll see you at Miami. Any last words for the people? Advice or salutations or whatever?
No, just keep focusing on one thing. I feel like if you focus on one thing, you'll eventually master it and you'll get somewhere.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
See you in Miami, brother.
All right. See